Today we're going to do lesson 4 in our measurement unit, and today's lesson is going to focus on metric units of mass and liquid volume. So we're going to try to hit both of those today in this lesson. So how do we measure mass and liquid volume in the metric system? So we've already talked about units of length and how they used that base unit of a meter. And so today we're going to talk about the rest of the chart here. So in the metric system, the base unit for mass is a gram, and we talked about this when we talked about benchmarks. A gram is roughly about, the mass of a dollar bill. And then the base unit for liquid volume is the liter. So the liter is about the size of a kind of a large water bottle, not like the standard kind you'd buy at the store, but one that's a little bit larger. And so, again, we have those base units, and same thing as before, we have our prefixes that go to the front, okay? And so we have, gram, but we can also have deci, centi, or milligrams, and we can also have deca, hecto, or kilograms. We have the liter, and we can also have a deci, centi, or milliliter, and we can also have a deca, hecto, or kiloliter. Today's lesson is going to focus on just two from each of these. So for mass, we're really going to focus on the gram and the kilogram. These are the most common measurements of mass in the metric system. And then we're going to focus on the liter and the milliliter, okay, in our measuring of liquid volume. So kind of, the opposite ends of the spectrum here. But we're still also going to focus on those basic units. And we're also going to work on converting. And so remember, when we are converting from a larger unit to a smaller unit, we are multiplying. So it's going to be converting liters to milliliters and then converting kilograms to grams that we will be working on today. So let's start off by taking a closer look at mass. So just, exactly what is mass? And this is actually a term that we use in science quite a bit. It's what we call the amount of matter in an object. And if you remember from earlier in the year talking about mass, you can say weight. It is very similar. It's related to weight. Weight is just the effect of gravity as well. So your weight might change if you're here versus, the moon or Jupiter, because the gravity is going to be different. But your mass, the amount of matter that you actually make up, or makes you up, is not going to change. So that's the only main difference, is that mass stays the same, but weight can fluctuate based on gravity. So if I say weight, and it can mean the same as mass. All right, so two of the main units of mass, like we said before, we're going to be using our grams and kilograms for the metric system. And the main rule to remember here is that 1 kilogram, and this is the abbreviation, kg, is equal to 1,000 grams. And the abbreviation for that is just a simple G. So, going back to the benchmark video, we said that, the dollar bill was about 1 gram of mass, and the baseball bat was a kilogram. So to make that, kind of relative, if I had 1,000 $1 bills in a stack, that would have roughly the same amount of mass as the baseball bat. So remember, it's not necessarily the size, it just has to do with the amount of matter, okay, or in other words, the weight. So here we have a little problem real fast we're going to solve to help us with converting our units of measurement. Alice is working on her garden. She used 9 kilograms of soil to plant everything. How many grams of soil is that? So let's say she bought, 9 kilograms of soil. Let's say they came in, like a 1 kilogram bag, and she bought 9 of them. So she had 9 kilograms altogether. So how would we convert the kilograms into grams? Well, like we said, when you convert from a larger unit to a small unit, you multiply, all right? And so kilo is that, that really big prefix. It's all the way at the, that left side of the chart. And gram is our base unit. So we are going from a larger unit to a smaller size unit. So we're going to take the number of kilograms we have to start off with, and we know that that is 9. Okay. And then we're going to take the number of grams that are in 1 kilogram. And so just real fast, looking back here, we know that that magic number is 1,000. So 1,000 grams are in 1 kilogram. And I'm multiplying because I'm converting from large to small. So 9 times 1,000, okay? Like I said, you know, these skills have built up over the year. So we've already done this before. So we know to take our basic fact of 9 times 1 is 9. And then we just add the extra zeros over. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 9 times 1,000 is 9,000. So to answer the question of how many grams of soil is it that Alice used? Okay, 9,000 grams. 9 kilograms times the 1,000 grams each gives me 9,000. So pretty simple. And we're just going to do some quick practice with filling in a chart. So I have our basic, you know, our basic numbers here. The 1 kilogram equals the 1,000 grams. So again, just an input-output chart. Whatever I put in here, I'm going to multiply by 1,000 to get my output on this side. So I'm going to actually skip this one. I'm going to come back to this one last. So if I had 7 kilograms, how many grams would that be? Right, 7,000, just 7 times 1,000. Okay. And then if I had 10 kilograms, how many grams would that be? Correct. That would be 10,000. You can think of it as, you know, when you're multiplying by 1,000, you can think of it as simply, you know, adding 3 zeros to the end of the number, you know. So if I have 10, add 3 zeros, boom, 10,000. So let's go back to the one that we skipped over before. I have 5,000 grams, but I don't know how many kilograms that was. So you can do a couple things here. You could divide by 1,000. Okay, you can just take the zeros off. You could set up an algebraic kind of equation here. I know that something times 1,000 will give me 5,000. Okay, so algebraic thinking. So what would the missing number be? Right, it would be 5. 5 times 1,000 would equal 5,000. So, like I said, the charts are really helpful with organizing, you know, the information when we're comparing. And, you know, it's as simple as just following the rule. And if you're missing something on the other side, it makes it a little bit easier to figure it out. So now we can compare metric units of mass, okay, kilograms to grams. Let's do a couple quick comparisons before we move on to liquid volume. So if I had 1 kilogram and if I had 900 grams, which would weigh more or which would have more mass? So we could, like we said before, when we're comparing, it's a lot easier to have the same unit. So I'm actually going to cross out my kilogram here and I'm going to convert it to grams. And I already know that 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams. Okay, I'm just going to put a G here to abbreviate. So when I do this, I have grams here, grams here. It's so much easier to compare. And I know that 1,000 is greater than 900. So 1 kilogram would be greater than 900 grams. Even though, you know, 900 is a pretty big number, it's still not enough to be, you know, greater than 1 kilogram. And one more here, if I have 3 kilograms and 4,500 grams, which one of those would be, excuse me, greater? So I hope that you know, cross this out, substituting it for 3,000 grams, okay, converting it real fast. And we see here that I actually do have more grams this time. 4,500 is more than 3,000. So that would be the greater number in this comparison. Okay, so real fast, talking about liquid volume. So mass was, the weight. And liquid volume is measured, so volume is the amount of space an object takes up. And we say liquid volume because then we're just specifically talking about the amount of space that a liquid is taking up. So in the metric system, we measure liquid volume using liters and, sorry, there's a typo there. Okay, I fixed it real fast. So in the metric system, we mostly use liters and milliliters. And so going back again to those benchmarks, we had the little medicine dropper, and then the large water bottle. And so you can see how it would take 1,000 of those milliliters, those little, drops, in order to equal 1 liter. So in this instance, when we are converting, we're always going to be converting liters, which is abbreviated with a large L, so it doesn't get mistaken for a 1. And then we abbreviate milliliters with a lowercase m and a large L, again, so it just doesn't get confused with, an I or a 1 or anything else. So, again, this actually does have to do with the space that something takes up, not necessarily the weight. So again, liquid volume and mass, those are two different things that we measure. So let's go ahead and work on converting here. So again, the reason why these we can teach the mass and the volume together is because they both have that same magic number when we're converting. It's 1,000. So 1 liter is equal to 1,000 milliliters. So again, my input-output chart, my rule, okay, to convert is to multiply by 1,000. But remember, it's when you're going from the larger unit to the smaller unit. So if I had 4,000 milliliters, how many liters would that be? Right, it would be 4, because if I had 4 liters, okay, if I times it by 1,000, then that would give me 4,000 milliliters. If I had 6 liters, how many milliliters would that be? Good, 6,000. It's pretty easy the more we do, right? And last but not least, again, going in reverse, if I had 9,000 milliliters, how many liters would that be? 9, very good, awesome. So quickly, let's do a couple comparisons. So if I had 2 liters, okay, and 2,000 milliliters, how would I compare these two amounts? Okay, well, I'm going to substitute my 2 liters for 2,000 milliliters, because remember, each liter has 1,000. I'm going to abbreviate, and we see that we actually have the same amount. So these are equivalent to each other. And then if I had 6,000 milliliters and 8 liters, which one of these would be the greater amount? Okay, if you did some quick figuring in your head, you would realize that 8 liters is greater because, okay, it is equal to 8,000 milliliters. All right. So today, we just talked about how we measure units of mass and liquid volume in the metric system. We use grams and kilograms and liters and milliliters. For your assignment today, just to continue practicing this, I had a Google form set up for you to complete. It has some word problems on there and some different, some are multiple choice questions, some are, short answer. So just, take your time, pay attention, make sure that you answer correctly. And that is it for today. All right, guys, have a good one. I'll see you later. Bye.